Over 60? These 3 cheeses can rebuild muscle better than eggs. Have you ever heard people say, losing muscle after 60 is just part of aging? You can't stop it? Well, let me challenge that idea. Because yes, muscle loss is common after 60. But no, it's not inevitable, and you don't have to accept it as your fate. Here's the shocking truth. Once you pass 60, your body can lose 1 to 2% of muscle every single year. Over a decade, that's almost 1/5 of your strength gone. And with that comes a greater risk of falls, broken bones, slower recovery, and the painful loss of independence. But what if I told you that the real problem isn't age itself? It's the signals your body sends, or fails to send, that determine whether muscle is built or broken down. And what if the solution isn't in a pill, or even in the gym, but in something you might already have in your fridge? Here's where things get interesting. Cheese. Now I know what you might be thinking. Wait, cheese? Isn't that too fatty? Too salty? Too indulgent? That's the common belief. But today, I'll show you why the right types of cheese can actually rebuild muscle better than eggs. Yes, better than eggs. Stick around because I'm going to count down 3 specific cheeses that not only fuel your muscles, but also improve your sleep, balance your blood sugar, and protect your bones. And trust me, number 1 will surprise you the most. Before we dive in, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, share this video with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel. It gives us the motivation to keep bringing you powerful, science-backed health tips every single week. All right, let's get started. Because every year after 60 matters, and the choices you make today could mean the difference between weakness and strength, between dependence and freedom. Let's kick things off with a cheese you probably know well, Parmesan. Most people think of it as nothing more than a topping for pasta, but for anyone over 60, Parmesan can be a nutritional battery pack for your muscles. Here's why. Parmesan is one of the richest natural sources of leucine, the amino acid that flips the switch on muscle building. Without leucine, it doesn't matter how much protein you eat, your body won't get the signal to start repairing muscle tissue. That's why athletes and seniors alike benefit from foods high in leucine. According to research published in the Journal of Nutrition, older adults who consume at least 2.5 grams of leucine per meal experience significantly greater muscle protein synthesis compared to those who eat less. And guess what? Just a small serving of Parmesan can help you reach that target. Now let me ask you this. When was the last time you added Parmesan to something other than spaghetti? Most people overlook it, but that tiny sprinkle can be more powerful than you realize. Parmesan also has another secret. Because it's aged for 12 to 36 months, the fermentation process naturally breaks down most of the lactose and partially digests the casein protein. That means it's much easier on the stomach, especially important for seniors whose digestive enzymes have slowed down. Many of my patients who avoid milk because of bloating can enjoy Parmesan with no issues at all. And let's not forget the bone connection. 1 ounce of Parmesan delivers over 30% of your daily calcium needs, plus a generous amount of vitamin K2. K2 is critical because it tells calcium where to go, into your bones, not your arteries. In my clinic, I've seen older adults who eat calcium without K2 end up with stiff blood vessels but fragile bones. Parmesan helps solve that puzzle by giving you both. Think of it like this. Parmesan is not just food. It's like a spare battery pack. Small, compact, but powerful. 1 slice, 1 sprinkle, and suddenly your body has the raw materials it needs to recharge muscle and bone at the same time. I remember a patient in her late 60s who came to me feeling constantly tired and worried about losing her balance. She was scared of falling. Instead of piling on supplements, I asked her to make one simple change. Add Parmesan to her daily meals. Within 6 weeks, she reported not only more energy, but also less muscle soreness after her walks. It wasn't magic. It was just about giving her body the signals it was waiting for. So here's my advice. Don't think of Parmesan as just a flavor boost. Use it strategically. Sprinkle it over a fresh vegetable salad. Stir it into a warm bowl of lentil soup, or pair it with whole grain toast in the morning. These simple combinations turn an ordinary meal into a muscle-supporting powerhouse. And here's something fascinating. Studies in Italy, where Parmesan is a daily staple, show that many seniors remain active and independent well into their 80s and 90s. It's not the only reason, of course, but their diet, rich in fermented, nutrient-dense foods like Parmesan, plays a big role. So the next time you reach for that cheese grater, remember, you're not just adding flavor, you're plugging in a nutritional battery that powers both your muscles and your bones. And if Parmesan is the daytime battery, wait until you see what comes next. Because number 2 doesn't just fuel you during the day. It works while you sleep, transforming your night into a secret training session for your muscles. Next up is cottage cheese. Soft, fresh, and almost humble in appearance. Don't let its plain look fool you. For anyone over 60, this is the silent night guard that protects your muscles while you sleep. Here's why. Cottage cheese is packed with casein, a slow-digesting protein. Unlike whey or meat proteins that flood your system quickly and then disappear, casein breaks down gradually. This means your muscles get a steady drip of amino acids for hours, exactly when you need them most, while you're sleeping. And here's the fascinating part. Sleep isn't just rest. It's your body's prime repair window. Growth hormone, which is essential for tissue regeneration and muscle repair, is released mostly during deep sleep. If you don't have the right nutrients circulating, that hormone surge can't do its job. Cottage cheese makes sure the raw materials are right there, ready to be used. Plus, it contains tryptophan, an amino acid that helps your brain produce serotonin and melatonin. These are the very chemicals that calm your mind, ease you into sleep, and keep your sleep cycles deep and restorative. No wonder many sleep specialists call tryptophan nature's tranquilizer. Let me ask you this. How often do you wake up at night feeling restless, or find yourself wide awake at 3 a.m.? If that sounds familiar, a small bowl of cottage cheese before bed could be the simplest fix you've never tried. Now for some numbers. A single cup of cottage cheese provides around 25 grams of protein. That's almost half of what many older adults need in an entire day. According to the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, adults over 60 who ate a protein-rich snack before bed had 22% more muscle protein synthesis overnight compared to those who didn't. That's the difference between maintaining strength versus slowly losing it. I remember working with a retired teacher in her early 70s. She struggled with both poor sleep and weak legs. Instead of adding more supplements, I suggested a bedtime ritual. Half a cup of cottage cheese with a few walnuts and a drizzle of honey. Within a month, she told me not only was she sleeping longer without waking, but she also felt more stable on her feet during her morning walks. Small change, big return. Here's my advice. Treat cottage cheese as your night shift worker. Pair it with walnuts for omega-3s and magnesium, nutrients that calm the nervous system. Add tart cherries or berries for extra antioxidants and natural melatonin. Keep the portion light. Just half a cup is enough to fuel the night without feeling too heavy. Think of it like hiring a personal guard for your body. All night long, this guard keeps watch, feeding your muscles drop by drop so they don't waste away. By morning, you wake up refreshed, not depleted. But of course, not everyone tolerates cow's milk products. If you've ever had bloating or discomfort, don't worry, because number 1 on our list is the gentle, gut-friendly alternative that might just be your perfect match. At the top of our list is goat cheese. Small, humble, and often overlooked. Yet for anyone over 60, this is the clean fuel that keeps the engine of your body running smoothly. Why is it so special? Unlike cow's milk cheeses that mostly contain A1 casein, Goat cheese contains A2 casein. This protein is gentler on the gut, less inflammatory, and far easier to digest, especially for seniors whose digestive systems aren't as resilient as they once were. Many people who feel bloated or uncomfortable after eating regular cheese are surprised to find goat cheese sits just fine. But that's only the beginning. Goat cheese is also rich in medium-chain fatty acids, MCFAs. These fats are unique because your body doesn't store them as easily. Instead, they're rapidly converted into energy. Think of them as premium fuel, efficient, clean-burning, and perfect for keeping your metabolism steady. According to research published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition, older adults who consumed more MCFAs experienced improved energy metabolism and reduced fat accumulation compared to those eating primarily long-chain fats. Now let me ask you, have you ever noticed feeling heavy, sluggish, or even sleepy after certain meals? That's often the result of long-chain fats that take a lot of work to digest. Goat cheese offers the opposite. It's light, digestible, and energizing. On top of that, goat cheese comes packed with probiotics and vital minerals like selenium and magnesium. Probiotics improve gut health, which in turn improves nutrient absorption and helps regulate inflammation. Magnesium plays a key role in muscle relaxation and sleep quality, while selenium supports the immune system and reduces oxidative stress. Together, they make goat cheese not just food, but functional medicine in disguise. I'll share a quick story. A gentleman in his mid-70s came to me complaining of fatigue and stomach upset every time he ate dairy. He loved cheese but had given it up for years. I suggested he try switching to goat cheese, just a small serving daily. Within weeks, he told me his energy was back, his digestion was calmer, and he could enjoy meals again without discomfort. It was a simple swap, but it gave him both comfort and confidence. Here's my advice. Spread goat cheese on whole grain bread with a drizzle of olive oil for a heart-healthy snack. Crumble it over leafy green salads with walnuts for extra omega-3s. Pair it with roasted vegetables to boost flavor and mineral intake. Think of your digestive system like an older car engine. Regular fuel might clog it, sputter, and leave you stuck. But goat cheese is the biofuel, clean, smooth, and perfectly tuned to keep the motor running quietly and efficiently. And here's the beauty. When you combine all three cheeses, Parmesan for daytime strength, cottage cheese for nighttime repair, and goat cheese for clean daily fuel, you create a complete support system for your muscles, bones, and energy. It's like having power in the morning, a guard at night, and clean fuel every step of the way. We've counted down through the top 3 cheeses: Parmesan, cottage, and goat cheese. But here's the truth. Even the most powerful foods can't work in isolation. They're like fuel sitting in the tank. To ignite it, you need a spark. And that spark is movement. Why? Because muscle is not just tissue. It's an endocrine organ. When you move, your muscles release compounds called myokines. Here's a number to think about. Research in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society shows that seniors who combine strength training with adequate protein intake gain twice as much muscle. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you did something as simple as standing up and sitting down from a chair 10 times in a row? I had a patient, a retired engineer, who loved Parmesan but hated exercise. He believed food alone could do the trick. After 6 months, his energy improved, but his balance didn't. Once we added 15 minutes of resistance bands and light walks, the change was night and day. Food built the foundation, but movement was the switch that turned it on. So here's my advice. Pair your cheese with a little daily activity. Eat Parmesan after a short walk. It will help your muscles absorb the leucine more effectively. Have cottage cheese after evening stretches. It doubles the repair process overnight. Enjoy goat cheese with a lunchtime stroll. It fuels steady energy for the rest of the day. Think of it this way. Cheese is the fuel, But movement is the key in the ignition. Together, they don't just preserve muscle, they unlock vitality. Mini hook before conclusion. And now, with the fuel and the spark in place, let's tie everything together. Because when you combine these foods with simple daily habits, you create a system that doesn't just slow aging, it rewinds it. We've already covered the fuel, those amazing cheeses. But here's the thing. Fuel just sits in the tank unless you turn the key. That key is movement. It doesn't have to mean heavy weights or hours at the gym. In fact, sometimes it's the small things that matter most. Standing up and sitting down from a chair, taking a walk after dinner, or using a resistance band while you watch TV. Here's what makes it powerful. When you move, your muscles release tiny messengers called myokines. They don't just keep your muscles strong. They talk to your brain, your bones, even your immune system, telling your body to stay sharp and keep repairing. One study in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society showed that older adults who combined light exercise with protein in their diet gained twice as much muscle compared to those who only focused on diet. Twice as much, from just moving a little more. Let me ask you, when was the last time you tested yourself by standing up and sitting down 10 times without using your hands? That simple little test can reveal a lot about how strong and how independent you'll stay in the years ahead. I remember one gentleman, a retired engineer, who swore food alone would fix everything. For months, he ate well but still felt unsteady. Once he added 15 minutes of daily walking and some gentle band exercises, the difference was night and day. It was like the lights came back on. So here's my advice. Let your meals and your movement work together. Parmesan after a walk, cottage cheese after evening stretches, goat cheese with a lunchtime stroll. Food is the fuel, movement is the spark, and you need both to light the fire. So let's bring it all together. Parmesan is your compact battery, charging your muscles and bones with every sprinkle. Cottage cheese is your faithful night guard, standing watch as you sleep, feeding your muscles drop by drop. And goat cheese is your clean fuel, light and easy, keeping your engine running smoothly every day. 3 very different cheeses, but sharing one mission: helping your body stay strong, steady, and resilient well past 60. And here's the best part. You don't need to turn back the clock to your 20s. You can make your 60s, 70s, even 80s some of the strongest years of your life. Strong enough to lift your grandchild, to climb the stairs without fear, to open that stubborn jar all on your own. Strong enough to stay independent. Now here's my challenge for you. Commit to 90 days with these 3 cheeses. Just 3 months. Watch what happens. Notice how your steps feel steadier, your sleep feels deeper, and your mornings feel lighter. I've seen it work for so many of my patients, and I believe you'll feel the difference too. And if this video gave you even one helpful idea, please tap the like button. It helps this message reach more people who need it. Don't forget to subscribe, because in the next video, I'll reveal a common breakfast drink that many believe is healthy. But in truth, it could be quietly stealing your muscle strength. You won't want to miss that. Stay strong, stay consistent, and remember, your best years can still be ahead of you.